A man comes down with the first case of Restless Anal Syndrome. A woman said her neighbor's racist taunts include loudspeakers playing monkey noises. And a man sues a psychic who promised to remove his ex-girlfriend's curse. These are the weird stories for Wednesday on The Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian. I got some very bizarre stories from around the world today. I'm very excited to get into it. Extra weird today, and loving it. Thanks to everyone who sent me stories. Appreciate all of you. I'm wasting time. Let's do it. A COVID patient has been diagnosed with the world's first case of Restless Anal Syndrome. I'm going to guess his anal area was very busy. It was restless. Couldn't stop moving all about. Just another thing we got to be afraid of, guys. Watch out. You don't want the Restless Anal Syndrome. Is it related to Restless Leg Syndrome? I'm wondering. Which we've cured, by the way. There's a pill for Restless Leg Syndrome. Yet nothing for the nut allergy. Just going to let that live out there. Yeah. Restless Leg Syndrome, a condition that if you have it, you don't even know because you're sleeping. But the medical industry thought this was a very valuable effort to cure this. Meanwhile, I got to run away from pesto. The dessert table frightens me. Yeah, but Restless Leg Syndrome. I'm sure they're going to cure the Restless Anal Syndrome as well. You probably should because having a restless anus is very uncomfortable, I'd imagine, and embarrassing. This guy responded well to the treatment. He developed the symptoms of Restless Anal Syndrome after several weeks. He was experiencing deep anal discomfort. This discomfort was occurring about the area of his perineum. Are you guys familiar with the perineum? That is the area between your anus and your genitalia. It's more scientifically known as the taint. In fact, in most journals, you'll see it referred to as the taint. Most professional journals, anyways. Some of them refer to it as the yoch. I prefer the taint because it taint your balls and taint your butt. So anyways, this anal discomfort would usually lead to the urge to have a bowel movement for this poor old man. His discomfort was eased by only exercise, such as walking, running, or playing video games that required motion. So like those dance video games. Hey, you have Restless Anal Syndrome? Just play some video games. The symptoms worsened in the evenings, like Restless Leg Syndrome. He underwent a colonoscopy, which revealed some internal hemorrhoids, which are a byproduct of this. Man, this is a terrible thing to catch. It's bad enough you got the COVID, now you got Restless Anal Syndrome. This poor guy, 77 years old, I'd just be like, kill me. Yeah, where do I go to die? Restless Anal Syndrome? I can't handle this. I'm 77. Just a bowel movement is like just something that's difficult for me. Now I got constant anal movement going on. Forget about it. How do you sleep? All other tests reveal no abnormalities. Yeah, who needs other abnormalities? You got Restless Anal Syndrome. That is enough. The man has no family history of Restless Leg Syndrome, it says here, so it must be related. According to the report, this is emerging evidence that COVID-19 can have what's called neural spread, which can result in Restless Leg Syndrome and restless other areas. Oh my goodness, what are we going to have? Restless Ear Syndrome? Next thing you know, your ears are just jumping all around? That's weird. Yeah, restless hands, that'll surely get you arrested. You're going to grope somebody or steal something. This is terrible. Just the fallout of this. Medics who treated the man believe Restless Anal Syndrome is a variant of Restless Leg Syndrome. It has not previously been published as being linked to COVID-19, making this case a potential world first. The report listed other possible but little-known side effects of COVID-19 due to the fact that the virus may spread to the central nervous system through several potential routes. So you got stuff happening that we don't even sure like what the fallout of this is. You have restless limbs, who knows? Maybe it makes you take up a terrible hobby, like, I don't know, scrapbooking or something. All right, I went too far with that one. Careful out there, guys. Make sure you get vaxxed, wear your mask, or don't. It's up to you. But unless you want your anal area to be bouncing all around, you want some, restless anal activity, I suggest you take some precautions, is what I meant to say. Okay, that sounds stupid. Bye. A Virginia woman claims her neighbor is harassing everyone using speakers that are playing monkey noises and racial slurs. This is terrible. Yes, an African-American woman in Virginia alleges that her neighbor plays monkey noises and racial slurs over very loud speakers in order to taunt her and other families in the area from inside his home. Unfortunately, Virginia authorities say there's very little they can do about this. Can you imagine? Janique Martinez says her family and other neighbors have been harassed in her Virginia Beach neighborhood for over a year by this POS. You know what that stands for, guys. POS. Here's a quote from Martinez. Whenever we would step out of our house, the monkey noises would start. It's so racist and it's disgusting. I don't even know how else to explain it. Yeah, you don't have to explain it any further, Martinez. This is a real just jerk of a person in your neighborhood. I'm so sorry. You spent all that money on your home and now you're living next to this person. City officials describe these allegations against the neighbor as offensive, but not criminal. Not criminal. If more than one neighbor is coming to you about this, you should do something, city officials. The neighbor, Martinez said, also monitors her family's movements with multiple home cameras and blinking lights that appear to be hooked up to sensors. Yeah, not much you can do about that. She told the news media that the neighbor's alleged harassment escalated to monkey noises and audio of racial epithets after she reported him for loud music. Racial epithets on a loop. This is unacceptable. Here's a quote from Martinez further. The neighbor found out we called the police on him for loud music. That was one morning. It's just been nonstop with the N-word since then. My son is terrified of him. Terrified, I tell you. The Virginia Beach Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but they did give a little bit. They described the neighbor's behavior as appalling, offensive, and unpleasant. But unfortunately, there's little the police can do about the situation. The city attorney made a statement, said that they determined that the actions reported thus far did not rise to a level that the law defines as criminal behavior. This means that they have no authority to intervene. There's got to be something you could do. You can't really report it as a noise complaint until, after 10 p.m.? I don't know. Every community is different, but the places I've lived in, after 10 p.m. is when you can report noise complaints. So for loudspeakers, no matter what it's blaring, you can report it. And we used to get noise violations all the time. Yeah, when I was young, partying, we used to have house parties. They were pretty crazy. I knew after 10 p.m. we were playing with fire. And I would try to tell everybody to keep it down, but, people don't listen. We had kegs and drugs, and then eventually I had a handful of noise violations as well. And, the police knew about us for sure. Now, it's like, but if your neighbor's doing offensive stuff, if whatever they're playing over the loudspeaker is extremely racist and offensive and hateful, isn't there something you can do? Now I'm not going to lie. Some of that old school gangster rap I was playing at my parties had some pretty offensive words in it. I'd imagine my neighbors weren't too pleased. But my intentions weren't to spread hate. My intentions were to spread joy. Wanted the neighborhood to bump and grind like we were doing, That's what I wanted. This neighbor, apparently, though, is spreading pure hatred, and I feel like the authorities should be able to intervene on this case-by-case basis. What is the intention of this individual? Is it hateful? Then something should be done. This goes beyond just noise. It's funny. They will give you a ticket for so much less than this. Do something about it. I've done what I can do to it right away. I went to the courts. There's nothing they can do. I've spent 11 years in the military. My husband's also a veteran. We fought for this country, but yet there is no one to fight for us. Poor Martinez. I wish someone would fight for Martinez. You know what, though? There's stuff you can do to this guy. When the courts and the police don't come to your aid, there are other things. There are other things you can do to put this person in his place. And I would start thinking about some of those things. Yeah. And those are fun things. Let's be real. Can you guys think of any? I can. Now, I'm not talking about killing the man. I'm just talking about, the old flaming bag of doo-doo on his porch for starters. Hey! Yay! You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult? No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. A man sues a psychic after she promised to remove his ex-girlfriend's curse. A California man is suing a psychic who he says falsely claimed she could remove a curse, a spell, put on his marriage by a witch that was hired by his ex-girlfriend. Yeah, you got to remove those curses put on by your exes. It's very important. It's hard to move forward in life with a hex. Especially if you want to start something new, a new relationship. You got to get rid of the spells cast onto you by your ex. You got to get some exorcisms in your life. Get yourself exercised and then start anew. Have you had all your shots? Have you had therapy? Have you had your exorcisms and all curses removed? Now you're ready for dating again. This guy's name is Mr. Restrepo. The poor guy, I have a feeling, was tricked. He claims that Sophia Adams, the, quote, psychic, promised that she would save his marriage if he paid her $5,000 to exorcise a spell. This is according to a fraudulent suit filed in the Superior Court. Mr. Restrepo says that the psychic told him his family would be unhappy and in danger if the curse of the ex-girlfriend was not lifted. He's seeking $25,000 in damages. Oh, there's a lot of allegations here. Civil conspiracy, negligence, infliction of emotional distress. Mr. Restrepo said that he found the psychic Adams after searching for psychics on Google. Now, that's never going to turn out right. You should have known, Mr. Restrepo. Sophia, the psychic's website, calls her a psychic love specialist and a PhD life coach. Oh boy, you got to watch out for these psychic/life coaches. Oh, where are you at in your life when you're going to a psychic for your life coaching? Jeez. Just, people are easily fooled. That's the problem. I mean, pick your poison, right? Do you want to go to a psychic? Or do you want to go to like some mega church? Tells you all your problems will go away. Me, I just rather go right to whiskey. That's what I like. Just go right to the whiskey. It'll never let you down. Whiskey tells you how it is. It's a lot cheaper, by the way. Okay. Let's get back into it. During the session, the psychic, Sophia, read Restrepo his tarot cards and told him that he had what's called mala suerte, which is also known as bad luck. The mala suerte was placed on him by a witch hired by his ex-girlfriend. A bruja. Is that a witch in Spanish? Bruja? I think so. She told him unless the curse was removed, it would ruin Mr. Restrepo, his marriage with a new lady, and his children as well. Despite making an initial deposit of $1,000, Mr. Restrepo says that Sophia, the psychic, did not in any way help his marriage at all. And he had been suffering from sleepless nights, in fact, anxiety and anguish. No doubt over the $1,000 and whatever else money he handed over to this charlatan. Guys, do I have to tell you not to hand your money over to a psychic? Do I have to tell you that? I hope I don't, right? You're not foolish, are you? This is what happens when you go to one of those psychics. It's like a neon sign outside of somebody's real house. And now next thing you know, you're in the living room of a psychic. They turned their living room into like their psychic room because all they did was like they added a string of beads by the doorway that leads to the kitchen. You can still hear the family back there eating chicken. It's like, those aren't the places you want to hand over $5,000, sir. So in a way, I don't really feel too bad for this guy. He just made a big mistake. The biggest mistake, though, is believing that there's a curse placed on you by your ex. That's really problematic. You can't really, if you're going to believe in spells and curses, like, what are we doing here? That's not something we can work with. Guys, just move on with your life, man. Good luck with your life, man. I don't know. Maybe you guys believe in stuff. This is very common I've noticed in the Mexican heritage is this whole brujeria and all this. They believe in love spells. They really do. They believe that you can make someone fall in love with you with a love spell. This is very common. I studied this for a show that I was working on called The Edge with Jonesy. Yeah. I interviewed a guy who claimed he had some kind of love spell placed on him by an ex, and it made him crazy, he says. And he had to go take ayahuasca to get rid of it. It was very complicated, the whole story. I'm not sure if I believe him. But yeah, this is a thing in the culture. It really is, and it's very alarming. I mean, it's bad enough you worry about your ex, coming over and showing up at your place of employment and just making a scene. Never mind casting spells on you. Terrible. That's just extra. Don't want that. And that's the end of the show, and you made it. Hey, listen, today's story is a little depressing. I get it. They're not all going to be super weird winners. It's unfortunate that now you have to be made aware that Restless Anal Syndrome exists. I'm so sorry. I mean, you got to be afraid of the COVID too, but now Restless Anal Syndrome, I mean, I don't know how you're going to get any sleep with your butthole opening and closing all night. This is a terrible thing. I had no idea it existed until now, and now you know. I'm so sorry. But it's pretty weird. I had to do it. Don't worry, guys. We got over 1,100 episodes. They get better. I got a nice email from Lily. Lily wrote me. Lily writes me a bit. She's so cool. She wrote, "You're just what I needed. Just what I needed." Love that song. Lily writes, "My favorite thing is when you say, 'Are you okay?' Your delivery is perfect." I can't claim to be the creator of that phrase. It's something I heard in Singapore. That's something they say from my experience. Are you okay? The one I did come up with is, are you out of your mind? You out of your mind? That's mine. That's all mine. You got to come up with your own thing. I borrow things and I paste them all together, try and be entertaining. Thank you, Lily, for pointing that out. I'm glad that you get a kick out of that. If you do, then that means maybe other people do as well. Big shout out here for Julianne Murphy. Julianne Murphy is now a patron. That's right. You're a patron of the arts. Welcome to the Patreon, Julianne Murphy. Welcome. You're a patron of the arts. We appreciate your support. Yes. Please know your support is going to very important things that keep this weird news train trucking along like a website and, electricity and whatnot. It keeps Jonesy highly caffeinated as well. Yes. It keeps Jonesy from having to work a complete full-time job as well. He can dedicate 5 days a week to a podcast rather than once a month, which is what his friends do. Yes, his friends are lazy. They do one a month, one a week. Jonesy's like, you know what? I'm going to do 5 a week, Monday through Friday. So we appreciate the support, Julia Murphy. Please enjoy the extra content that Jonesy has placed within the Patreon. For instance, yesterday he posted a video of him playing a song on guitar. A Beatles song, no doubt. I'm a big fan. Have you seen that Paul McCartney documentary? Oh, I just love it. Thank you, Julianne Murphy. Patron of the arts, Julianne Murphy. We appreciate her. Your name will be placed on a plaque in the closet. I should put a plaque in the closet with all the names of the Patreons. That would be hilarious. Maybe I'll write their names on the closet. Oh, that's a great idea. I'll write your name on the closet. You can write on the closet. They're just going to repaint it anyways, right? Maybe I'll do something like that. That'd be pretty cool. I alluded to a video that I posted in the Patreon yesterday. And it's me playing a Beatles song that I sang on the show. And people tried to guess what it was. And some of you got it right. And I was very impressed because it's it's not a very popular Beatles song. So I thought I'd play it on guitar, sing it a little bit, put it on there. Just a little fun thing to do. And so if you're on the Patreon, check that out, man. You get to see Jonesy play guitar and sing a little bit. I'm all right. I'm not someone you write home about, but I'm okay. I'm good around a campfire. After you've had like several Jack and Cokes. Smoked a doobie. You guys smoking doobies? Oh man, I smoke doobies, spliffs. You roll it up, I'll smoke it, man. I ain't afraid. Doobies. Get it on. Guys taking dabs, man? I don't take those dabs, man. Those dabs will put me right under, man. I won't be able to play guitar or nothing. All right, I think I've done enough here. Lastly, I should just say, if you'd like to join the Patreon like Julianne Murphy, it's patreon.com/weirdafnews. Get your name written on the closet wall. Why not that? You can also join by going to weirdafnews.com and clicking on Patreon, or download the Patreon app and then search for Weird AF News. Support the show, guys. Give me some love. I'll give it right back. I'll love you tomorrow. Love me tomorrow like today. All right, I'll see you.